Broncos country, week 1 is in the books, and the Denver Broncos fall to 0-1 after losing to the Las Vegas Raiders 17-16. Now, first things first, I just want to ask you to leave a like and subscribe to the channel as the support is greatly appreciated. I'm trying to hit 500 subscribers, so by subscribing, you're going to help me reach that goal, and by liking, you're going to help push the video out to more people to help me reach that goal. Now, I just want to say this is not the recap video. I am planning to do a full game recap and most likely post that tomorrow. That is the goal at least. But today, or I guess in this video, we're going to be going over the studs and duds of week 1 for the Denver Broncos. So, yeah, I mean, this video is just going to be about who were the stars and who kind of wasn't the greatest. This is just about players. We're not including any coaching staff. But yeah, this is the studs and duds of week 1 for the Broncos. Let's get into it. As always, I want to remind you that Jesus is king. I just hope that you give your life to him because he died on the cross for your sins. And through what Jesus did on the cross by taking our punishment and dying and then being raised from the dead 3 days later for us, that's the only way we get to heaven. It's not by our works, but it's by Jesus' works alone that we go to heaven. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into this one right now. So, the first stud of the video, it had to be none other than Pat Surtain. Now, here was his stat line versus JaVonte Adams. He allowed 2 receptions on 5 targets for 11 yards, and he had a career high of 3 pass breakups. Now, I will say I did wish that Pat Surtain was lined up on JaVonte Adams the whole game and he was shadowing him. I thought that was a very big error by Vance Joseph by not having Pat Surtain mirror JaVonte Adams everywhere he went on the field, because when he wasn't matched up against Pat Surtain, he was matched up against someone like Damarri Mathis. That is where JaVonte Adams started to gain some traction. So I wish that Pat Surtain was matched up with JaVonte Adams all game long. But, I mean, you can't complain about this stat line. He locked JaVonte Adams down. He had a terrific game. He's the best player on the team for a reason. So the stud, or one of the studs this week, is going to go to Pat Surtain. Next up, the first stud we have is going to be Wil Lutz. I don't think this should come to a shock to anybody. Having 2 field goal attempts, only making 1, and having 2 extra points and only making 1, it was rough. Now, granted, the field goal attempt was 55 yards, so that's no gimme, but the PAT he definitely should have had. I'll be honest, though, I do not think the reason we lost this game was solely on Wil Lutz, and let me explain. The Broncos let's just say that the Broncos made that PAT. Wil Lutz made that PAT, and it's a 17-17 game there at the end. The Raiders are driving down, and they have bled out the clock. They've bled all their timeouts, so they're going to run the clock down. They're going to send on Daniel Carlson, and he's going to kick a game-winning field goal for the Raiders to win 20-17. Now, if he makes the field goal, it's a different story, but assuming that he made the PAT and still missed the field goal, the Raiders were driving, and they probably would have scored on that drive with how the defense was letting up. So, to me, the loss isn't solely on Wil Lutz. Should he take some of the blame? Yeah, I think he should, but I'm very confident in Wil Lutz. Dude has been a great kicker over the past few seasons, and I will say I think the biggest adjustment that Wil Lutz needs to make is going from a domed stadium to an outdoor stadium. A lot of kickers have trouble transitioning from a dome to an outdoor stadium. So I think that is an area that he needs to improve on. But I am confident in Wil Lutz bouncing back next week. Stud. We got 2 of them here, and that's going to be Javonte Williams and Samaje Perine. Williams had 13 carries, 52 yards, and averaged 4 yards per play while having 4 receptions for 5 yards in the air. Had no touchdowns, but I'm hoping that will change soon. Javonte Williams looked healthy and ready to go. He was breaking tackles. He was running hard, so Javonte Williams looked very solid. Same thing with Samaje Perine. On 8 carries, he had 41 yards, averaging 5.1 yards per play. Had 4 receptions for 37 yards. No touchdowns again, but Perine started off slow, at least in the running department, but then he had that big run for 11 yards, picked up the first down, and helped us score our second touchdown, or I guess that Courtland Sutton touchdown. So the 1-2 combination of JaVonte Williams and Samaje Perine looks really solid, but I would like to see them get a little bit more involved in the running game. And I guess in the passing game, one thing I'm nitpicking is I wish we would throw it deep more instead of all these checkdowns. But still, I was very surprised and very pleased with what I had to see with JaVonte Williams and Samaje Perine. Dud, and this one hurts. It is going to be Justin Simmons. I thought Justin Simmons played not the greatest game. 3 solo tackles, 1 assist tackle for 4 total tackles. Look, I know I might catch a lot of flack in the comments, but Justin Simmons was not wrapping up today. He was going and he was hitting players, but he was not wrapping up and bringing them down for the tackle. That is an area where I think Justin Simmons needs to improve, is his missed tackles. And then he also had that unnecessary roughness penalty on Jimmy Garoppolo, I believe, to start the game, which helped advance the Raiders' drive further down the field for them to score on their opening drive. So just a couple of mistakes and, areas I'd like him to improve. Got to wrap up on the tackling game, and then can't make a stupid play like the unnecessary roughness penalty hitting Jimmy Garoppolo late for that personal foul. But I'm confident Justin Simmons will bounce back next week. But for this week, he is a dud, in my opinion, on the studs and duds list for the Broncos. Stud, it's got to be Russell Wilson. After all the heat he took after last season, he bounced back in a big way today, completing 27 passes on 34 attempts, which is a 79.4 completion percentage. He threw for 177 yards, which is a little low. You would like to see maybe about 200-ish yards passing, but he did have 2 passing touchdowns and a 108 passer rating, which was really solid for Russell Wilson. And I kind of mentioned it earlier with Samaje Perine and JaVonte Williams, but I would like to see some more passes deep down the field. I like the checkdowns. He was completing passes. He was getting into a rhythm, and he was moving the chains with these checkdowns. But I would like to see the deep ball come out more, throw it deep to Marvin Mims, throw it deep to Courtland Sutton, those big explosive plays. Now, he did connect with Philip Dorsett down the sideline for that big gain, but it was called back because he caught the ball out of bounds, so that negated the whole play. But I would like to see some more deep balls. I would like to see some more deep passes from the Broncos offense. So, yeah, Russell Wilson, though, he had a great game. He showed that he is not washed. Russell Wilson can still quarterback this team, at least from what we saw in week 1. Dud, it has got to be Damarri Mathis. I still expect Damarri Mathis to take a leap and become our cornerback number 2, but tonight was rough. 5 total tackles, but he was picked on all day long by the Raiders. You can feel towards the end of the game that they were targeting Damarri Mathis specifically because he was struggling in pass coverage. That is something Damarri Mathis has to work on. I believe he will personally improve in the pass coverage, but today was just not his day. He was struggling. Maybe it's because it's the start of the season and he needs a little bit to get into the rhythm of the season. But whatever it is, Damarri Mathis ends up here on the dud list for week 1 on my list. Stud, I'm going with Courtland Sutton. He wasn't the leading receiver today. It was actually Samaje Perine, and that needs to change. But on 4 receptions, he had 4 receptions on 5 targets. He dropped 1 pass. It was a little bit low, but I still think he should have caught it. But he had 32 yards, averaging 8 yards per catch, and he did score that touchdown. He stepped up with Jerry Jeudy out of the lineup. Now, I do still think Jerry Jeudy is our number 1 receiver, the best playmaker on the team, but Courtland Sutton stepped up in his place and was that wide receiver 1 target. So I'm happy with what I saw from Courtland. Still needs to have some better games, I guess. Well, I guess it's hard to have a better game when you're targeted 5 times like that. But I thought Courtland Sutton had a solid game. I think I don't know if he really looks like his 2019 self. Only time will tell. But Courtland Sutton is one of my studs for week 1 for the Denver Broncos. Sorry, went backwards on accident. Dud, I'm going to the pass rush, and I just want to specify this is not on Randy Gregory specifically, who is pictured. I just think he's the face of our pass rush, and yeah, today was unacceptable by the pass rush. You were unable to sack Jimmy Garoppolo once. Jimmy Garoppolo, it's not Lamar Jackson. It's not Jalen Hurts. It's not Justin Fields who's going to scramble around. It's Jimmy Garoppolo. You weren't able to get a sack. You got 3 quarterback hits, but you weren't able to get a sack. That is a big key on why the Broncos lost. And so the Broncos pass rushing unit, both, I mean, I'm not going to really call out the defensive ends because they were more so in the run game, but for the edge rushers, the Broncos definitely need to work on getting some pressure, especially on Sam Howell next week. Things need to change in terms of the pass rush department. And finally, I guess actually that is it. I thought I had another one for you guys, but that is all I had for studs and duds. I did stud first, then dud second, so I thought I mixed it up in my head. I thought I had one more stud to go, but that is my video on studs and duds. Let me know who your studs, who your duds are from week 1 in the comment section below. As always, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel, as the support is greatly appreciated. And my name is Parker, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.